Hello and welcome to an interesting Clifton's Clicks, your Cliff Notes to the cosmos. As always, I am your host, Clifton, and I greet you with love, respect, appreciation, gratitude, motivation, and inspiration. So, in this talk, I'm doing something a bit different, and that's allowing a complete opportunity for information to be sent and received through Kalaberva and see how Lord Kalaberva wishes to manifest through me and um, what is to be shared. Most of the time, I have an idea of what it is that I want to say or what I'm going to say. And in this case, I figured I'd play it out and just see how it feels and what goes on. And of course, what's interesting is the vibrational activity of what is happening within me right now. And to be able to do it in a seamless way that can be unrecognizable. Oftentimes, the conversation is jaded or intermittent or done with a bit of fanfare or jaggedness to it. So now we're flowing live. So we'll see how that goes. And what's happening right now too within is definitely some incredible vibrational sensations and activation of the heart and a bit of a dissociative processing and organization of thoughts and verbiage. So we'll begin, won't we? We will. Great. So here we are at the precipice of modern technology infusing with ancient wisdom, the idea that one is separate from the other is silly. As a result, all wisdom is wisdom. It's just simply what it can be encapsulated as and delivered as such. In ancient society, in ancient civilizations, we weren't necessarily giving talks on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. We were standing on a soapbox or at the speaker stump or holding the speaking tree or whatever silly organizing rules there were to speak. Nice thing about now is I can speak and no one can listen if they don't want to, or millions, billions can listen to it if they want to. And so what matters is the wisdom that is being relayed, and in due course, the quality of that information tends to be destroyed or diminished or diluted with other people's delusional desires and activities for their own self gain and self interest and self worth. And here you'll find a lot of individual, institutionalized ways of thinking and modalities of existing fall victim to this simple lack of integrity with what needs to be honoring the original wisdom being shared. And while the truth of what's being shared right now may exist on a higher frequency dimension in terms of processing and computing and understanding, in layman's terms, it simply means that we got shammed. We got gypped. When you follow various religious ideologies, you'll find that there's too much dilution that creates a whole set of additional delusions that keep your head spinning and you running around in circles, and these sort of cosmic traps that have kept a lot of people in the place that they are in and unable to break through. What you can do, however, is you can assert certain principles and cosmic truths, or even create a framework for yourself, because we exist in an open architecture and infrastructure of our realities and our systems. And so what you can do in order to help others, because ultimately once you've obtained enlightenment or an understanding of a higher operating software, as has been said, you want to help others because it's kind of hard to get my head in the middle here, Come on. There we go. It's hard to exist from an enlightened state or a heightened operating software state in an open infrastructure that we find ourselves in the world with other people at various levels of consciousness while understanding and honoring their specific levels that they wish to live in. Certain constructs of the collective consciousness are such that it creates challenges for us in a free economy and in the beauty that is the interface of America to exist in a thriving, flourishing world when certain community aspects are disestablished or spread out across the globe or the etheric field of technology. There's something that is desiring in individuals, which is companionship and shared realities and understandings to create a specific lifestyle and community and reality together. One of the challenges and one of the beauties of going on a conscious exploration and going on a lifestyle shift is you get to see all these various levels of the matrix and how various people live and the results of that. And of course, they tend to romanticize and glorify what could be possible in these specific constructs and theories and belief structures ultimately. But then also a challenge is a lot of them are false illusions of what's possible between what they actually practice and what they actually preach. And you see it's this non-integrity that lures in several and dozens of individuals and energies and souls to perpetuate this ideal that they are professing without actually being able to see the tangible results and the outcome. And so what you are left with is an exploration of, regardless of belief system of what you want to embody and practice and feel unrestrained in this open infrastructure of the United States to be able to, well, in a way, go out and buy yourself some organic vegetarian pizza. Come on. How hard is it for us to realize how incredible food is when it's organically grown and how incredible the cow is when it is honored and revered and allowed to do what it's going to do without kidnapping its young or artificially inseminating or keeping them contained and treating them like they're some sort of robotic machinery. I mean, don't get me started on, how we think we're going to be able to program some sort of futuristic sentient being when we don't even recognize ourselves how we're treating our food production. Like, come on, these are living things, and we're not even getting it how we should be treating them consciously. Like, you look at the videos for the mass production of how you fertilize eggs for fish or chickens or cows. Like, forget figuring out how to program sentient beings or forget how to program AI. We got to figure out how we treat living things already and realize that there's problems with kind of how we're living in a collective conscious way. Digression over. So one of the challenges, how do you create that? How do you create that open infrastructure without forcing it upon others? That's what currency is for. That's what the collective conscious votes on. And so when you are a champion for a higher conscious living, you have your challenges set before you or the opportunities set before you to help bring about that change. And from a financial perspective, it's a bit challenging, but also very lucrative once you kind of understand and switch the model. Because one of the challenges, I don't want to work for an employer that is practicing lower consciousness beliefs and practices, da 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 da. Yes, which is true. It can impact and stunt your conscious growth. But at the same time, knowing that the overall trajectory of technological advancement and society advancements is net positive towards higher consciousness, which it is, by the way. I mean, yeah, of course you have the equivalent like lower consciousness and barbaric kind of behaviors happening. but net trending positive with the consciousness of the collective consciousness is we're getting more conscious. I mean, it's just the nature of consciousness when it's practiced and when it's aggregated. And the beautiful thing about technology is it doesn't have to be geographically restricting. And in fact, its technology amplifies the power of conscious expansion. And recognizing that we are consciousness, just it's the winning side is conscious expansion. And of course, there's the multi-reality simulation, and then there's the we're in Earth's in a lockdown in a grid formation, and it's being leveraged and leached for its energetic properties and da 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 da. And this is the only planet that you can come to advance in your spiritual growth, and all these different things that, to be quite frank, are challenging to prove from a logical framework, which, well, I guess, you just have to shift your reality in order to experience it and believe it. Like, oh, hey, I can move a coconut, I can heal people, I can, access the Akashic Record, I can remote scan things and know where things are. All these power manifestations. Like, until you live that reality, it's hard to prove it, right? So that's not what I'm here to say or even talk about. I'm here to talk about recognizing the areas where we're stalling or stuck for us to get unstuck. And it's not like, oh, let's all chant and, do puja 108 times or whatever. It's about, guys, look at what we're doing to cows. Look at what we're doing with our food. Look at what we're doing with our water. And snapping out of it. Like, wake up. Once there's that certain realization, you start to realize, what have I, Macaulay Culkin, what have I been doing all this time? And it starts with the cathartic shift and a shift in your desire and your voting power with your dollar. But then as it self-organizes with more and more individuals recognizing this need for a conscious shift, it's about pooling and allocating those more conscious individuals to create changes and shifts in the collective consciousness, not necessarily going to the extremes on either side or the extreme conscious living, regardless of if that might be where I'm at or where I'm headed or where I was. But it's about moving it forward. So hey, you may not have found conscious lifestyle to be all these different things, but at least we agree it's on this one thing. So let's all group together our collective conscious voting power, our Paramashiva points, and make this shift. And that's the beautiful thing about democracy when it's transparent, open, and honest, and working the way it's intended and designed, is that that's possible. And so it's not so much advocating for a particular religion or even lifestyle. It's just finding those strategic points that resonate amongst various groups of individuals living together in the United States and in the world, so that way the shifts happen. Because when those shifts happen, it happens. And other people will follow suit, or they'll leave. They'll find other reasons to leave America or the planet. And while that's a great theoretical framework to impart on, what we're really doing and what Faces of the Future is going to do is to specifically find those mandates, directives, missions, desires that we collectively can get behind to raise the frequency of the planet, to get us connected to our hearts, to be more conscious, all of those things. And that's a really good understanding. And the United Nations is like a think tank that puts out, these sustainable development goals and these things for the future. And while that's a great model and framework, one has to look at like the infrastructure, background, intentionality, and energetic vibes of the United Nations, and not just that, the track record of how they're doing and how they provide a very valuable service for the organization of mankind, but also where they may have challenges. Like, you're dealing with countries and leaders and individuals where corruption is the standard. Like, if you're the most corrupt, you win. So of course they're that energy and vibe is permeating through that organization. And thank you for taking a hit. Um, and so, that's my click for now is, Faces of the Future is really picking those faces that we can collectively get behind that aren't simply directed by one individual, one organization, but by many organizations to collectively change the collective consciousness. So with that, I thank you and have a great rest of your day.